Well, Andy, thanks for taking the time to speak to us. There's quite a few things that we want to get to today, but let's start by the club's reflection on the announcement last Tuesday that the fans wouldn't be returning to football stadiums this month.
Well, we were hugely disappointed when the announcement came out on Tuesday that our supporters would not be able to return for the game this coming Saturday against Ipswich Town. We'd all been working extremely hard on returning to crowds from the 1st of October. We ourselves had put a number of measures into place. We'd worked through a number of algorithms that could show that we could socially distance supporters within Stadium MK. We then worked very hard on the entry to the stadium, the whole journey in terms of the concourses, so that were segregation points, one-way systems, even to the point where you wore face masks throughout and then coming to your seats, and even going the extra mile, things we weren't required to do, which was doing temperature checks and everybody coming in. Supporters were very happy to sign up to a code of conduct. We'd done a lot of consultation with supporters over the last 5 to 6 weeks to actually get us to this stage, and so it is absolutely devastating, I think, for supporters and the football club that we won't be joined together and coming together on Saturday. We don't quite get it. We take fully on board all the crisis that the pandemic has caused and continues to cause problems. But as a football club, as an football industry, we are heavily regulated by local authorities and by the SGSA, which is a Sports Ground Safety Authority, to make sure that our stadiums are safe to come into, and never more so than at the moment. And we've calculated we could get about 6,000 fans inside a 30,000-seater stadium where everybody could be properly socially distanced. And in our view, it was much more safer coming to watch MK Dons than perhaps it might be to go out a trip shopping or going to the local pub. So incredibly frustrating, but we are where we are, and that of course has ramifications for us going forward.
I was going to say, there's obviously a human element that the fans won't be coming back in, and obviously disappointing not to be playing in front of crowds. That's what football's there for. But the financial implications are really, crucial and pivotal, aren't they? And can just give some background and some clarity to supporters of what it means for the football club financially moving forward.
I think first thing to say is that we recognise what it actually means to our supporters, who won't be able to, for the foreseeable future, come together, not just to watch the team, but come together with their friends. That's the whole point of coming to football. It's very much a social activity where you get to see your friends every couple of weeks, and friendships are formed for life. And pointing the team, talking about the game and the build up to it, and together and after the game as well as to what you've seen. It's great to be able to watch it on iFollow, and we're very, very grateful that the Football League have given us that facility, but it's not quite the same as being there all together. And footballers themselves, they're entertainers and they need a crowd, and it's not helpful in an empty stadium. It's a really, really weird experience for not just those privileged people inside the ground, the essential staff, but particularly for the players. So that's the first thing to say. In terms of financial ramifications, it's absolutely huge. It's potentially, if we don't have football at all this season in front of crowds, then in terms of gate receipts alone, it's probably a cost to this football club of £1.5 million. And the overheads are still there. The players still need to be paid. The overheads, the water rates, the electricity bills, they're all there to be paid inside the stadium, which football contributes towards. And we're looking at a real black hole there, which we're sort of been working extremely hard to see how we can fill that over the next few months. And God willing, we will have people back in the stadium before the end of the season. We're certainly very much hopeful of that, and we know that one of the good things, that the government instigated last week was a task force of people from not just across industry, not just across sports, but the medical scientists and the people who know really about these things, to find a fast-track way back that people can come back into sports stadiums and into theatres. So, we're very much hopeful that there will be a means and a mechanism that, can bring people back into stadiums to watch football, to watch other sports, and particularly watch MK Dons over the next few weeks, but next few weeks or months. But we don't know when that will be, and we have to really base all our financial forecasts on probably a worst case scenario, which might mean no crowds coming back. But I have to stress that is a worst case scenario, and we would remain hopeful that we will have people back inside Stadium MK to watch MK Dons before too long.
You touched on iFollow, and that's obviously a source of income for the football club, so far this season. But the other main source that's been continuing, since for the whole way through the pandemic is the season ticket holder income. Given that we've got a number of season ticket holders that have shown tremendous loyalty to continue, paying their money towards the football club and sticking with the football club. And obviously now their time coming back to the stadium is going to be delayed even further. The club announced today, obviously, they're going to be suspending payments now from October. Can you just talk about what went into that decision and what that means for them moving forward?
Thank you. Well, first of all, it's absolutely the right thing for this football club to do, to suspend payments on Thursday, not knowing what we can offer back as part of recompense. What we're looking at here is a season ticket income of around about £750,000, and quite clearly, if we had to refund all that money, it's going to be extremely difficult for us. So, last season, with 5 games to go, our supporters were absolutely magnificent in terms of many of them not claiming a refund, choosing to take a free black shirt, which were fulfilled this week, or choosing to leave their money and donate it to the academy, which has made a huge impact in keeping that particular operation being able to survive over the summer and go into next season with a huge degree of optimism. But once the announcement was made last Tuesday, we put a small group of people together to actually start to look at what we could do for the most important people in this football club, which is our supporters and our season ticket holders. And we looked at a number of different mechanisms. It's an absolute right that if anybody wants a refund, they should be able to claim it. They're not getting the product for which they paid for. We obviously have been able to mitigate that with the iFollow home streams, which are free of charge. And that goes some way to a lot of people, but not for all. And so we wanted to do something extra. And we are working still very hard on that. But what it means at the moment is I can't give clarity that those extra initiatives, incentives that we put together would actually be in place by the end of this week. And we do have a direct debit payment coming out on Thursday. We'd hope to announce something today, but unfortunately we need a number of third parties to come together to make that happen, and quite simply they're not in a position to do that just yet. There are some ramifications for other clubs in the division if we can make those proposals work. So we're hopeful we can do something in that respect, but we thought in the meantime, even though it comes at a cost, that we would suspend the direct debit payments that were due to come out on Thursday will now not be taken out. And for season ticket holders, it gives them some certainty. Hopefully, it gives us a bit of time over the next 2 weeks when, prior to the beginning of November, we can come back with a range of options which they can consider. And, we can say to them, thank you very much for what you've done before. We want to do something again, but we just want to get it absolutely right and make sure that people can make a real choice as to what they want to do to support the football club going forward. Or if they need to take the money because their personal circumstances dictate it, then of course we understand it. But just bear with us over the next couple of weeks while we try and put that all together for you.
And to clarify, even though they won't be paying for the next month's payment, they will still have all the rights of a season ticket holder, won't they? And they'll be able to watch the game on Saturday.
Absolutely. There's 4 games in October at home here at Stadium MK, and every one of those games will be available to our season ticket holders, even though the payments have been suspended for this month, to watch. There's also a group of people who have paid their money up front, and I think it's important to recognise that they too will not lose out. Once we put the options together over the next 2 weeks, and they will be treated in exactly the same way, and we will recognise the fact that some supporters have had the benefit of a free month, and we'll look at a number of options as to how that will work for those people who have paid in full and given us their money without going on to a direct debit. So nobody will lose out. We want to do this now. We want to come up front, be on the front foot, to give people that certainty prior to Thursday, which will enable them to stick with us and just give us a bit more time to come back to them over the next few weeks and tell them what we can do for them so they can make that considered choice as to how they want to support the club going forward.
I suppose it kind of fits into what we're doing today, that I know the club's quite keen to ensure that all season ticket holders are kept engaged and informed about what's going on. It's a difficult time, a lot of uncertainty, a lot of things changing very quickly, so you can't always come out and provide the clearest of updates all the time. But I know the club's quite keen for its, using MKFM, the app that's just recently launched and will be in place again for Ipswich, just using the ways to stay in touch and ensure that season ticket holders know what's going on at their football club, even though they can't be in the building.
You know what, that's absolutely critically important, because we can come up with different schemes to recompense people for not being able to come to it, but we want to keep people together. It's very much a community coming together, to watch a football club as a real lifestyle, social occasion, and we need to continue to be able to connect with our season ticket holders, even though they can't be physically with us, and indeed all our supporters. So, we're going to come up with a range of different things. We've got the Red Dot app, which is going to be launched on Saturday. It's a fantastic digital program which enables everybody to sort of see what's going on at the club. It actually brings the old matchday program to life, and although that will retail at £3, that too will be given to all season ticket holders free of charge whilst they cannot come into the stadium here at MK Dons. So that's something which we will be launching on Saturday, and it will be the details on how to download that will be coming out during the week. But the other thing is to make sure that we look at other ways that we can bring people together, and the team here have come up with a number of ideas, continue to do so that we can use the power of all the different digital media platforms we have, whether it be Zoom, whether it be Twitter, whether it be YouTube, whatever platforms we have, we can actually keep people fully engaged and hopefully bring people back together in a way that they can still continue to see their friends and the people that they see on a Saturday or a Tuesday evening. We did the Player of the Year awards in June, which I think was very, very well received, and it's that sort of thing that we want to do on a more regular basis, that sort of format, which can mean people can continue to engage with the players, engage with the manager, and engage with their football club and indeed their fellow fans. And that's something that, as I said, we're going to be working extremely hard on and bringing regular content to everybody over the next few weeks. It's really important we do that.
What would be your final message to the supporters as they're taking in the news today that the season tickets will be suspended and obviously the knowledge they won't be back? What's your message to them?
Well, absolutely. Whatever we do is irrelevant. What the most important thing is to say thank you to everybody for staying loyal to us, not just over the last few months, but throughout the pandemic, being there for us when it really counts. And I hope going forward we can come up with a range of exciting options that really show the club's gratitude and appreciation for what our supporters have done for us.